I actually wasn't even with Ritual Zero Proof the month or two that Belay started. So I got to come in, and it's a wonderful feeling to come in and there's a clean set of financials, because what I was brought in to do is to do financial strategy, as opposed to spending 90% of my time preparing and cleaning and reviewing financials. Their financials, they're pretty clean to start with, a system, a ways of working that to start with. And then I could start making financial strategic decisions that flexed into commercial and sales strategy, flexed into marketing strategy, flexed into supply and operational strategy. Like the systems and the software and the ways of working with Belay, it just worked. Another great thing is this is because of the pandemic, we've made a big push into e-commerce. People were home, people were looking for things to drink, people were looking for health. It is very difficult to run accounting on e-commerce, because you can imagine there's Amazon, and then there's a difference from Amazon Seller Central and Vendor Central and FBA and FBM. There's Shopify, but there's Shopify directly to consumers, there's Shopify business to business. We probably had 3 other business to business e-commerce platforms. They all have different ways of recognizing revenue and working with returns and working with physical bundles versus digital bundles. Very complicated stuff that we were learning on the fly, but felt like we had that nice safety net of experts. Belay really took the ownership and the emphasis of helping us to understand how e-commerce works from a financial accounting perspective. And then e-commerce grew to over 50% of our business during that pandemic period. I would also recommend Belay to people because you're not just getting fractional help, you're getting a level of expertise. So like, sure, I could have found people any part of the globe, any country, any time zone for fractional help, but you kind of get what you give. You'll get a certain type of redundancy. Some of the, routine work was done by Belay, but then, as I said, you can elevate the trickier questions up the team as they need more and more expertise. We had decades of field expertise from our Belay team all put together. So you're really, if we were to try to have replicated that by hiring we couldn't have just hired one person to do that. We probably would have needed to hire all 6 people in order to replicate what Belay gave us, but we wouldn't have needed all 6 people in a full-time equivalent position. Our investors just loved knowing that Belay is an independent third party. So yes, Ritual Zero Proof and Belay were teaming together. Yes, sometimes there's a gray area where we decide how do we want to account for something, but Belay is not going to provide the monthly financial statements if any type of ethics or major accounting principles are violated. We tell that to our investor, and our investor, it gets a strong sense of confidence of saying, wow, there's an independent third party vetting all of these monthly financials. Post-acquisition, we knew that we would work towards Diageo systems. It took 1.5 years to integrate, but for 1.5 years, it was a slow, methodical wind down that it was as organized as possible. So it would be, okay, we're going to turn off a few vendors. We're going to start migrating the inventory over. Being able to do that for 1.5 years, it was at the right pace. Like we didn't have, if we would have gone too fast, we would have lost key information, misaccounted for something. There weren't too many hiccups in the book. So even though we were working with Belay kind of in a silo on the existing inventory and the existing customers, it was so helpful to have a cutover. Now, Diageo was the one who would then help consolidate both sets of books together. Diageo's financials, everything that's going through SAP, and then also consolidate with everything Belay was helping with us still on the QuickBooks side. I bet we could have even have scaled up to $100 million a year and still been okay working with Belay in our current systems. It was that seamless. A lot of Diageo systems are kind of better for billion-dollar brands, and it makes it very cumbersome for our ways of working. I really miss working with Belay as a company, with our team, like Aubrey and team and Todd and Trevor. She's amazing. It's not the same. It's not the same anymore. And this is, I know I'm kind of quasi on record, off record now, but like my team's global right now and they're constantly turning over. And I call it the 3 Bs. I'm working with people in Bangalore, Bogota, and Budapest. And it's constantly changing, different time zones. And it's maybe that works for $1 billion brand. It's hard for us. And I miss the relationship and the continuity and the consistency. If I'm part of a startup again, like one of the first people I would call up you guys and be like, all right, let's partner together again. they're going to push, they're going to nickel and dime you, and you're not going to win a ton of it. It's almost, you have to bake that into your margins with distributors, all types of allowances and chargebacks. So I would never expect to be able to use any partner to win the majority of the chargebacks. But the return on investment of the little bit of effort and the small to medium amount of chargebacks that we won, that was worth it.